Deep work is a strange phrase. It sounds simple, almost too ordinary, like a quiet room and a desk with nothing but a notebook. Yet, in a world that flashes, buzzes, vibrates, and interrupts every waking moment, deep work has become one of the rarest human abilities. And that rarity is exactly what turns it into power. Real power. The type that bends careers and opens doors that talent alone cannot unlock. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, and every moment of distraction disappears. No notifications pulling your eyes away. No endless feed nudging your thumb. No invisible tug pulling your mind from one tab to another. Instead, there is only a single task, a difficult one, a meaningful one, and you stay with it. 10 minutes, 20, 1 hour, 2. Somewhere inside that stillness, your brain starts to work at full intensity. And when your brain works at full intensity, you become someone radically different from the distracted version of yourself. You become capable of producing things that the distracted world cannot replicate. This is the promise of deep work, according to Cal Newport. And this promise is not philosophical, it is economic. In an era shaped by artificial intelligence, automation, and digital noise, the people who learn to focus deeply will become the last individuals who can truly create value. Newport argues that the modern economy rewards two groups above everyone else. The first group includes people who can work well with intelligent machines. The second includes people who are so good at what they do that they cannot be ignored. Both groups depend on the same thing. They depend on the ability to concentrate intensely for long periods without distraction. Learning complex skills requires deep concentration. Performing at a world-class level requires deep concentration. Solving hard problems requires deep concentration. Meanwhile, the modern world is quietly destroying this variability. Every ping, every swipe, every micro-taste of stimulation rewires the brain to expect constant novelty. This makes the mind allergic to effort and impatient with silence. The harsher truth is that distraction is not just stealing time, it is rewiring who you are becoming. Deep work is the antidote. It is the discipline of spending long, uninterrupted periods, focusing on a cognitively demanding task. That task must push you to your limits. It must require effort. It must force your mind into full engagement. In this state, the brain enters what psychologists call flow, a neurological condition that reduces self-consciousness and amplifies mental performance. Athletes call it the zone. Artists call it the current. Programmers call it being locked in. Whatever the name, it is the state where the best work of your life is produced. But deep work does not happen by accident. Modern life is optimized for shallow work. We are trained to respond instantly, to multitask, to skim, to glance, to bounce between apps. It is easier to look busy than to be productive. It is easier to reply to emails than to work on something meaningful. Shallow work spreads itself thin across your day until there is no energy left for real creation. Once you understand this, you begin to see why your best ideas never arrive when you are scrolling. They arrive in the shower. They arrive when you are walking alone. They arrive in the silent pockets where your mind is finally free from the spotlight of constant stimulation. The first part of Newport's argument is simple. Deep work is becoming more valuable. At the same time, it is becoming more rare. When something becomes rare and valuable, those who cultivate it rise above the noise. They become the ones who learn faster, produce more, and build careers that compound over time. But Newport also warns that deep work requires training. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it weakens when neglected. To see how weak it has become, imagine sitting in a quiet room for 15 minutes with no phone, no music, and nothing to do except think. Most people cannot do it. And it is not because thinking is painful. It is because the brain has been conditioned to expect stimulation every few seconds. So when the stimulation is removed, the brain panics. It wants the hit. It wants the reward. It wants something, anything, to fill the space. This discomfort is the first barrier to deep work. You must learn to sit with boredom before you can sit with intensity. Newport shares stories that demonstrate this principle. President Barack Obama carved out quiet pockets of time late at night to read, think, and write. He guarded these moments fiercely because he knew that deep thinking could not happen in the chaos of constant interruption. Psychologist Carl Jung built a stone tower in the middle of the Swiss woods so he could disconnect from the world and immerse himself in writing. He believed that escaping noise was not indulgence, it was necessity. These examples are not romantic, they reveal a truth. Deep work requires retreat, not physical retreat necessarily, but cognitive retreat, a mental boundary, a protected zone. To reach this zone, Newport introduces the idea of rituals. Rituals reduce the energy required to begin working deeply. When the environment and the routine signal to the brain that deep work is expected, resistance fades. This is why monks write in the same cell every day, why authors have specific writing corners, and why scientists retreat to the same quiet labs. The brain thrives on environmental cues. Without rituals, deep work becomes a battle of willpower, and willpower loses every time. There is another obstacle: context switching. When you move from one task to another, your attention does not switch instantly. A residue remains. Even if you begin a new task, part of your mind is still thinking about the previous one. This residue is small but destructive. It fragments your attention. It slows you down. It keeps you from reaching cognitive depth. The modern workplace is built on context switching. Notifications, messages, quick checks, inbox refreshes. Every switch chips away at the clarity required for deep work. This is why 1 hour of uninterrupted focus is often more valuable than 5 hours of scattered effort. To break this cycle, Newport recommends scheduling focus the same way you schedule meetings. Deep work becomes a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. If someone asks for your time, you can legitimately say you are already booked. Booked not with people, but with thinking. Booked with building. Booked with the sort of invisible labor that creates visible results later. But to understand the stakes, you must first understand the cost of shallow work. Shallow work feels productive. It feels fast. It feels busy. It is the type of work you can do while tired. It is the type of work that makes you feel like the day moved quickly. But shallow work rarely changes anything. You can reply to messages for 8 hours and feel like you worked hard. You can switch tasks all day and feel exhausted, but your contribution remains small. Your skills do not improve. Your output does not compound. And most dangerously, your mind becomes wired to avoid difficulty. Every time you switch from a demanding task to something easy, you reinforce a habit, the habit of escape. Your brain learns that the moment things get hard, it can bail. And once the brain learns to bail, deep work becomes nearly impossible. This is why Newport pushes for an aggressive stance against distraction, not moderation, not half measures. A genuine shift in lifestyle. As you listen to this script, imagine your own workday. Think about the moments where your attention breaks. Think about how often you check your phone. Think about how many times you open a tab, close it, and open it again. These small moments may feel insignificant, but they add up. They shape your mind. They determine whether you will join the group of people who thrive in the new economy or the group that struggles to keep up. Deep work is not simply about productivity. It is about reclaiming your ability to think. It is about rediscovering the satisfaction of doing something difficult. It is about building a mind that is not at the mercy of algorithms designed to distract you. And above all, it is about taking control of your time so you can direct it toward things that matter. This is the first part of the journey. Understanding why deep work matters and why the modern world makes it difficult. In the next part, we move beyond theory and into strategy. Newport offers rules for designing a life centered around depth. These rules are not tips, they are systems. Systems that transform the way you work, the way you focus, and ultimately the way you live. And once you adopt them, the world around you will feel different, quieter, slower, more deliberate. And inside that quiet, inside that deliberate pace, you will find the mental power that modern life tries so hard to take away. If the first part of deep work is understanding why it matters, the second part is learning how to construct a life where deep work is not something you occasionally attempt, but something woven into your daily operating system. Cal Newport makes one thing clear. The world will never create deep work conditions for you. You must build them for yourself. The default environment is chaos. The default rhythm is distraction. To live differently, you must design differently. The first rule Newport teaches is to work deeply. It sounds obvious, but the real message is hidden inside the word deeply. Most people work in a traditional pattern. They sit down, begin something difficult, hit a moment of friction, and immediately break focus. They check messages, they switch tabs, they skim something unrelated, they allow their attention to leak. Over time, this becomes a reflex. The moment the mind touches resistance, it flees. Deep work requires that you reverse this reflex. When resistance arrives, you stay. The staying is what strengthens the mind. The staying is what builds the muscles that modern life has neglected. But staying is hard without structure. This is why Newport emphasizes rituals. Rituals eliminate the friction of beginning and the temptation to drift. A ritual can be as simple as sitting in the same chair at the same time each morning with the same drink, or it can be as elaborate as having a specific room, a specific notebook, and a specific sequence of actions that signal the brain to enter a different mode. The important thing is consistency. Your environment should whisper the same message every day. This is the place where depth happens. The second element is specificity. Before you begin deep work, define exactly what you are going to do. Do not say you will write. Say you will draft 1,000 words of a specific chapter. Do not say you will study. Say you will master one concept from a specific field. This precision directs the brain toward a clear target and prevents the mind from drifting into ambiguous effort. Vague goals create vague output. Specific goals create focus. The next part of the ritual is protection. Deep work must be kept safe from intruders. These intruders include people, devices, and your own impulses. The simplest strategy is to remove every distraction from the environment. Turn off the phone. Close all tabs except the one you need. Block websites if necessary. Keep only the tools required for the session. When the environment is empty, the mind becomes full. When the environment is cluttered, the mind becomes scattered. But even with perfect rituals, the brain can still rebel because it craves stimulation. That is why Newport introduces one of his most important ideas. You must learn to be comfortable with boredom. Boredom is not the absence of stimulation. It is the gateway to depth. When you allow the brain to remain unstimulated for stretches of time, it begins to rebuild its ability to focus. This is why many of your strongest ideas appear during long walks or in the shower. In those moments, your brain is not distracted and not overloaded. It is simply present. And presence is the soil where depth grows. Newport suggests training boredom through what he calls productive meditation. The idea is simple. When you are doing a physical activity that does not require thinking, such as walking or commuting or stretching, use that time to hold a single problem in your mind. Keep your attention on that problem. When your thoughts drift, gently bring them back. This is the mental gym of deep work. Each rep strengthens your capacity to maintain focus. Over weeks and months, this practice expands the walls of your attention span. But there is a more aggressive technique Newport recommends. Quit social media, not reduce it. Quit it, at least temporarily. His argument is not moral, it is economic. Social media platforms are designed to steal your attention for their gain, not yours. They deliver small hits of stimulation that weaken your ability to focus. And worst of all, they fill every empty moment of your day. When you feel even a whisper of boredom, the hand reaches for the phone before the mind can intervene. This constant injection of micro-pleasure rewires the brain to avoid depth. Newport proposes a 30-day experiment. Pick the platforms that consume your attention. Quit them for a month. After the month ends, ask 2 questions. Did your life get worse without them? Did anyone truly need you on those platforms? The answer is almost always no. This experiment reveals a truth most people refuse to see. Social media addiction is rarely about staying connected. It is about avoiding silence. But quitting social media is not enough. You must also restructure your day to support depth. Newport recommends scheduling your entire day hour by hour. This may sound rigid, but the purpose is not to trap you. The purpose is to create clarity. When every hour has a purpose, it becomes harder for shallow tasks to slip into your day unnoticed. You know exactly what you must do and when you must do it. When interruptions appear, you can adjust the schedule consciously instead of drifting unconsciously. This technique reveals how much time you waste and how much time you could reclaim. Once you see your day laid bare in this way, you will understand how easily the hours vanish when they are not protected. Newport adds a complementary principle. End your workday at a specific time. This is not laziness, it is discipline. A fixed deadline forces you to use your hours wisely and prevents deep work from being scattered across the evening, where your cognitive energy is already drained. By creating a hard stop, you train yourself to prioritize depth when you actually have the strength for it. The next rule Newport presents is to drain the shallows. Shallow work cannot be eliminated entirely. Email still exists. Communication still happens. Routine tasks still need to be completed, but shallow work must be minimized. Newport recommends identifying which tasks truly require your best thinking and which tasks do not. Then structure your workflow so shallow tasks occupy the smallest footprint possible. One powerful method is to batch shallow work. Instead of checking email throughout the day, schedule 1 or 2 specific windows where you open the inbox and process everything. Outside those windows, ignore it. This reduces context switching and protects your time from being fractured. Another method is to reduce the availability you signal to others. People will adapt to your boundaries. When you respond instantly, you train them to expect instant responses. When you respond at set times, you train them to respect those times. Newport also asks you to question whether every task should be done at all. Many emails do not require replies. Many meetings do not need to happen. Many obligations exist only because people assume you are available. When you begin saying no to the non-essential, the essential begins to expand. You create space for depth. But to fully understand the need to drain the shallows, consider the phenomenon known as attention residue. When you switch from one task to another, part of your mind remains stuck thinking about the previous task. This residue slows down your progress on the new task and makes it harder to enter deep work. If you switch tasks frequently, the residue accumulates and your day becomes a foggy blur of half-completed thoughts. This is why batching shallow work is critical. It isolates the residue into controlled windows so the rest of your day remains clear. There is a deeper philosophical reason behind draining the shallows. Newport argues that our time is the most valuable currency we own. Every minute spent on shallow work is a minute stolen from the work that could define your career. Shallow tasks may feel urgent, but urgency is not the same as importance. When you allow urgency to dictate your life, you drift away from the work that truly matters. The rules of deep work are not theoretical. They are practical and brutal. They require sacrifice. They require saying no when others expect yes. They require choosing silence over noise and difficulty over ease. But the reward is profound. The reward is the ability to produce work that is rare, original, and valuable. To illustrate the cost of shallow living, imagine a day where you never reach depth. You wake up, you check your phone, you bounce between apps, you skim emails, you scroll through content, you begin a task but interrupt it 5 times, you switch tabs, you skim again, 12 hours pass, you feel busy, you feel tired, you feel like you worked. But when the day ends, nothing meaningful has been created. This is the life of shallow work. It is a life that feels full, but becomes empty when examined closely. Deep work is the opposite. You wake up with intention. You protect your hours. You sit in silence and push your mind to its limits. You produce something meaningful, something real, something that cannot be copied easily. When the day ends, you feel satisfied, not because you were busy, but because you were effective. Newport insists that deep work is not a personality trait. It is not reserved for geniuses. It is not a gift. It is a choice, a lifestyle, the result of deliberate practice. Anyone who commits to the discipline can reshape their mind. Anyone can reclaim the ability to focus. Anyone can join the small minority of people who move the world forward. This brings us to the final part of the book. The larger consequences of a world where deep work becomes rare. In the next section, we explore what deep work means for your identity, your career, and your sense of purpose. We examine how the economy is shifting and why those who fail to adapt will be left behind. And we look at the deeper truth beneath Newport's message. Deep work is not just about productivity. It is about becoming someone capable of doing work that matters. To understand the full power of deep work, you have to look beyond productivity and examine what it does to the human mind. Productivity is only the surface-level benefit. The deeper transformation happens inside your sense of identity. When you spend your days jumping between micro-distractions, your mind becomes fragmented. You lose the ability to hold a thought long enough for it to evolve. You lose the ability to see connections across ideas. And slowly you lose the ability to understand who you are in the first place. Depth gives that identity back. Newport argues that deep work creates meaning, not because the tasks themselves are meaningful, but because the act of sustained concentration is a form of craftsmanship. A craftsman does not create meaning from the object. He creates meaning through the quality of attention he gives to it. When you work deeply, you align your mind, your intention, and your effort into a single direction. That alignment feels satisfying in a way shallow work never can. Humans are built to create. Depth is the environment where creation becomes possible. Deep work is also a psychological anchor. In a world flooding you with stimulation, depth becomes a refuge, a place where you can escape noise and reclaim ownership over your thoughts. Many people feel anxious today, not because life has become harder, but because attention has become scattered. When attention fractures, the self fractures. Deep work repairs that fracture by giving the mind long stretches of uninterrupted thought. These stretches create a sense of stability that is increasingly rare in modern life. But the implications of deep work do not end with personal meaning. They extend into economics. The modern economy rewards those who can quickly learn complex skills and produce high-quality output. These are exactly the skills deep work strengthens. Artificial intelligence and automation are reshaping entire industries. Jobs defined by repetition or shallow tasks are being replaced. The remaining opportunities are clustered around knowledge workers who can absorb new information, solve difficult problems, and generate original ideas. These opportunities belong only to those who can focus. Newport warns that the gap between deep workers and shallow workers will widen. Some people will become incredibly productive, valuable, and sought after. Others will drown in low-value tasks, overwhelmed by distractions, unable to keep pace. The difference is not talent. The difference is the ability to do deep work. The future will favor those who cultivate this ability. The future will forget those who do not. But deep work demands a lifestyle shift. It requires stepping away from cultural norms built around constant connectivity and instant response. Many workplaces encourage shallow work without realizing it. They reward quick replies, constant availability, and hyper-communication. These behaviors create the illusion of productivity while destroying the conditions required for real progress. Newport challenges you to resist this culture, not by rebelling outwardly, but by quietly restructuring your habits from the inside out. One practice he recommends is the shutdown ritual. At the end of each workday, perform a brief sequence of actions that signify closure. Review outstanding tasks, update your schedule, plan the next day. Then say a phrase that signals your brain the workday has ended. This phrase could be something simple like workday complete. The purpose is to allow your mind to detach fully from work. When you shut down properly, your evenings become restful and your sleep becomes deeper. This rest fuels the next day of deep work. Newport also emphasizes the value of a life filled with intention. This does not mean eliminating leisure. It means choosing leisure consciously instead of slipping into passive consumption. Many people finish the workday exhausted and collapse into aimless scrolling or mindless entertainment. This passive downtime weakens the mind. A better approach is to select restorative activities that nourish you. Reading, walking, training, learning, connecting with others. When leisure is intentional, it refreshes you more deeply and strengthens your capacity for focus. One of the most striking ideas in the book is that depth is not only a skill, but a form of resistance. It is a refusal to let external forces program your mind. It is a declaration that you will not be shaped by algorithms, notifications, or the demands of others. Deep work is a reclaiming of agency. When you choose depth, you choose sovereignty over your attention. In a distracted world, this sovereignty is a superpower. But deep work does not come without sacrifices. You must accept periods of boredom. You must reduce digital noise. You must be unavailable sometimes. You must disappoint people who expect instant access. And you must confront the discomfort of focusing intensely. These sacrifices are small compared to what you gain. You gain the ability to produce at a level most people never reach. You gain a sense of clarity most people never experience. You gain a life defined by purpose rather than reaction. To illustrate the consequences of ignoring deep work, imagine a future shaped entirely by distraction. A future where people cannot read long texts, cannot follow complex arguments, and cannot sit alone with their thoughts. A future where creativity declines because no one can concentrate long enough to explore ideas. A future where intelligence decays, not through lack of access to information, but through lack of attention to it. This future is not imaginary, it is already emerging. Deep work is an antidote to this decline. Newport describes how many of history's greatest thinkers relied on extended periods of deep concentration. Writers retreated into cabins. Scientists isolated themselves for long stretches. Leaders carved out late-night hours for reflection. They understood intuitively what modern research confirms. The mind becomes sharper when it is trained to focus. Innovation and insight come from uninterrupted thinking. The more time you spend in depth, the more original your thoughts become. But deep work is not only for intellectuals. It applies to anyone who wants to excel. Whether you are a designer, engineer, student, manager, athlete, or entrepreneur, depth amplifies your performance. It allows you to learn faster, solve harder problems, and produce higher quality output. Whatever field you belong to, deep work elevates you. One of the most important lessons Newport shares is that deep work must be protected at the identity level, not only the scheduling level. You must see yourself as someone who values depth, someone who rejects distraction, someone who works with intention. When this identity becomes part of you, deep work becomes natural rather than forced. You no longer resist it, you gravitate toward it. An identity shaped by depth also transforms how you handle challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with clarity. Instead of panicking, you analyze carefully. Instead of rushing, you choose precision. Deep work strengthens the mind in the same way training strengthens the body. it builds endurance, resilience, and calm. As the book approaches its conclusion, Newport shares one final insight. Deep work is not only a path to success, it is a path to fulfillment. Humans need to work on things that matter. We need to feel we are growing, contributing, and building something meaningful. Shallow work cannot provide this feeling. Only depth can. When you spend your days in deep work, you end each day with a sense of progress rather than exhaustion. You feel that you moved closer to something important. This feeling creates a kind of quiet joy. The modern world is full of people who are busy but unfulfilled, people who are constantly active but never satisfied, people who confuse motion with progress. Deep work breaks this cycle by shifting your life from a reactive state to a creative one. It allows you to design your days rather than be swept away by them. It brings coherence to your thoughts and direction to your actions. To practice deep work is to choose a life of quality over noise. It is to invest in the long term rather than chase the short term. It is to honor the best parts of your mind rather than surrender to the shallow parts. This choice will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. As you finish this exploration of deep work, consider the quiet truth at the heart of Newport's message. In a world competing for your attention, the rarest and most valuable resource you own is your ability to control it, guard it, strengthen it. Use it to build the work and the life that only you can build. Deep work is not just a strategy. It is a way of becoming someone capable of shaping the future rather than being shaped by it.